Restoration time.
Greetings. I greet you, all the viewers of Restoration Time. This is your host, Pastor Ps C Semono. This is the day that the Lord has made. We are so blessed today to have our very first guest on the show. And I'm going to give her time to introduce herself and be greeted.
Greetings and greetings to you viewers.
Oh yes, oh yes, we thank God. Can you just introduce yourself to the viewers out there?
Okay, my name is Amanda Kudzai. I was born in Kwekwe in Zimbabwe.
In Zimbabwe and Kwekwe. Where is Kwekwe in Zim?
Kwekwe is in the middle, it's between Bulawayo and Harare, it's in the middle.
Oh, between Bulawayo and Harare. So Bulawayo and Harare, those are the main cities.
Yeah.
So Kwekwe is one of the smallest, it's a village.
It's a small village in the middle of it.
But we thank God, you have a story to tell. Amanda has a story to tell. The work of grace, we see it upon this woman's life. And today, I am so honored to be with you here on the show, talking about what God has done. But before we get there, let's just go back and check what God has done. You know, you were born in Zim, in Kwekwe, but you are now in South Africa.
Okay, I grew up in Kwekwe. I grew up staying with my both parents, my mother and my father, until the age of 8.
Yes.
Until then, my mother and my father separated. So we were left.
So your parents separated when you were 8 years?
Yes.
Okay.
So in my family, we were only 2, me and my younger brother. So my parents separated and they left us alone. We had no one to take care of us.
Meaning you didn't have anyone to provide for you?
Food and stuff.
At the age of 8?
At the age of 8.
How old was your brother by then?
My brother was 4. We had 4 years difference.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry for interrupting you. You can continue.
So after that, my uncle and my aunt decided to take us because we were now staying alone.
Yeah.
So we went staying with my uncle and my aunt, and the things were very bad because now they knew that my parents are alive. So my parents did not provide for us, send us money or do anything. So my uncle and my aunt were now abusing us.
Sure. Maybe before you get there. So your parents separated and none of them took you with.
No.
So meaning your mother took her own direction, your father took his own direction, and they left you, the kids,
left us, yes,
without any form of support. That's why your uncle and your aunt came in and they took you in and they started taking advantage of the fact that your parents are alive and they can't, provide for you. Sure. Then what happened from there?
So we stayed. And my uncle and my aunt decided that because my brother was younger than me, he had to go to school. One of us was supposed to go to school because in Zim you cannot go to school for free. It's not like here in South Africa. In Zim you pay and then you go to school. If you don't pay, you don't go to school. So one of us
had to go.
He had to go, and then my brother had to go. I had to drop out.
Sure.
Yes.
So what grade were you doing by then?
I was in grade 3.
So you had to drop out because they couldn't afford to take both of you to school.
Us.
Sure. Can you take us further? What happened from there?
So as we were staying, my uncle, he was a bit nice. Yeah. And then my auntie, she could even give us food. Sometimes we could spend days without food because she could tell me, I cannot provide for you. Why at least your own parents cannot provide? So forgive me, I'm not going to give you food. So
you would sleep without food.
We would sleep without food. And then so sometimes she could give us food in one plate, me and my brother. So I had to give it to my brother because he was younger than me. And then while I'm doing the dishes, I must lick the dishes because I had to put something on my stomach.
That's a very painful story. Sure. Then you continue to live with them. You know, when we were talking of air, you told me that you lived with them up until the age of 12, back and forth up until the age of 16. And what happened? What happened as you were staying with them, licking the dishes, not sleeping without food? What happened?
I had nowhere to go, because the reason why my parents separated is because my father was abusive to my mother. So I decided to go to my grandmother. My grandmother, he had that bitterness. He didn't want us because of what my father was doing.
Oh, yes.
So the minute we went to my grandmother, the situation was bad, more bad than my uncle. So we decided to go back to my uncle. So we stayed
to the same house of abuse again.
Yes. So we stayed. My auntie sometimes would tell you, today you're not sleeping in my house. I remember this other day I slept, you see that small house where she can sleep. The other day it was winter, it was very cold. I didn't have shoes, I didn't have a jersey. I slept with chickens in that house. And I had nowhere to go, I didn't know what to do. So life must go on.
Sure. And at some point you left your uncle's house. You stayed with some other people.
Yes.
Can you take us through that?
Okay, there was this other lady. She was a nice lady. She I think she was a pastor's wife also.
Yeah.
So she decided to take me in because she could see how my life was.
Yeah.
So she took me in. I stayed with her for a couple of months. She was very good to me. And then the minute that I left my uncle's house, I did not tell them where I was going. I just left.
Yeah.
So people could talk and tell them, oh, she's not staying there. My auntie came and told that lady, this one, she's a thief. You must not allow her. She ran away with me.
Sure.
So that lady, she didn't have a choice but to let me go, because my aunt said, if this lady dies in your hands, you will know what to do. So that lady, even though she wanted to help me, she could not anymore.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Meaning she would go to people who are trying to help you and make sure that they can no longer help you. If they do, maybe she would even threaten them.
Yes,
so
because I was the eldest, I was doing all the cures.
Oh.
So the minute that I left, no one would do it.
No one would wash the dishes, no one would cook for them. Wow.
So
yeah, this is bad. This was bad. Now, maybe to cut the story short, around the age of 16, you left them. And then you decided to stay with someone. Can you take us through that?
I was now tired of the abuse, because at some point while you are sleeping, she could just take a stick or a shampoo, beat you while you did not do anything.
Sure.
So I was now tired. I didn't know what to do anymore. And then I just decided to stay with this other guy who was just approaching me. He approached me once or twice, and then the next day I moved in with him.
You stayed with him.
Yes.
So your uncle knew that you were staying with this guy?
Yes.
They knew this guy?
Yeah, they knew the guy.
They didn't come and threaten him to say, you know, what you're doing is wrong and so on?
When they came because they wanted money. They came to ask him, when is he going to pay Lobola?
You. All right, I see that you had a child with this man. You have a child with this man.
Yes.
And a time came where you were to come to South Africa.
Yes.
You know, maybe just to cut the whole story short, many people tend to judge people who come from other countries and judge those who come from Zim, specifically Mozambique and other countries, without really understanding what they go through, you know, for them to end up being here. How did you come here? Did you come through the border? Did you come through, because some they come through the crocodile. I hear some they climb the crocodile becomes the transport. How did you get here?
Okay, I was one of those people. Okay, I had money, so I decided to come to South Africa. And then I paid like the bus, and then when you reach at the border, if you don't have papers, there are certain people that you must talk to. So I talked to this other guy. I told him I want to go to South Africa. He said, okay, it's no problem. You must just give me 400 rand. I gave him 500 rand because he told me that we'll pass through the border. We won't go through the river where there are crocodiles and stuff. Yeah. So we just came. So the minute that we paid him, he told us, are you crazy? There's nothing like that. You must go through the river, because there's no way that I can do miracles and pass. You can pass through the border. So we came through the river. We walked the whole night, and at that time I had a small baby. She was crying all the way, and those people, they were insulting me. we walked the whole night until early hours in the morning. At some point when we were in the bush, because it's only the bush, there are also dangerous animals and stuff, but I'm glad because we didn't see them. At some point when we were walking, there just appeared people
in the bush.
And then they said at midnight, and then they said everyone must lie down. We want money, phones, everything. So we gave them everything.
So you gave them money?
No, the money that I had hidden it inside the child's clothes. Because when I came, a friend of mine told me that you must just be safe. Some money you must just hide it because you don't know where you are going.
But the people you were with, they took their belongings.
They took everything, the monies, some even the shoes.
But they didn't kill anyone?
They didn't kill anyone.
And you didn't suspect that there are people who are killed in the bush? Because I hear that there are people who also die. Some they leave home, come into South Africa, and they don't reach South Africa. They die in the bush, either by the animals of the same people, who are there in the bush.
It happens because a friend of mine, when she was coming here, those people, they had someone's head on their hands, and they could tell you, if you don't give us what you want, you end up being like this person.
They hold in someone's head?
Someone's head.
So meaning they killed this person?
They killed this person. So if you don't do what they say, you end up dead.
Now you arrived in South Africa. Here you are in South Africa. Obviously, you are in the side of Messina. At least you had some cash. To cut the story short, you ended up in Gauteng. This is where we are. And survival. Now you have to survive. So when you came to Gauteng, who were you coming to stay with?
I had to come and stay with my mother because my mother stays in Joburg.
So you stayed with her. Can you take us through that?
Okay, my mother is now married, and then so when I told her I want to come, she said okay, it's fine. But the moment that I reached here, I could see the situation, it was bad because the husband also had children, and they were almost the same age with the children, so we could fight each and every day. Plus my mother did not raise me, so we didn't have that relationship,
that mother-daughter thing.
So it was hard for me also, and I think it was hard for her also. So it was not working for me. I just decided to move out, and I was fighting with my stepdad's daughters, so it was not working.
So you had to move out?
I had to move out.
And go and stay where?
I had a friend that stays here in Pretoria, so I talked to her. I decided to come and stay with her in Pretoria.
Then from there, how was life? Was life easy?
Life was very difficult now because I have a child and I'm not working.
Sure.
I don't know if the child wants to eat. I also want to eat. I don't know how, and I'm in a foreign country. I don't have papers, so it was hard.
So that means, how were you surviving? Were you making means every day to buy bread, something to buy bread? Were you making means on a daily basis just to buy bread?
Yes, I had to make means, even though I'm not proud of it, but I had no choice. I had to
make plans. To survive.
Yes.
When we were talking of air, you told me that at some point you would have friends even in the taverns. You would even drink, and do things that you're not proud of course, just to make sure that you survive. Viewers at home, as we are talking here, I'm deeply moved by how we look at people sometimes and we judge without having an understanding of where people come from. The story of Amanda here, it's very touching to realize that sometimes situation can force you to end up doing what you do not want to do. We may not disclose everything, but for sure when I say something that I'm not proud of, all of us, we've got those where you feel that I've done this and I'm not proud of it. And she was really at that point in her life. And where are your friends? You used to go to taverns. Where are the friends that you used to go with?
Most of them passed away, and then the one that left, she's even now sick. So I thank God because I'm not with them anymore.
So most of them are dead. Some are sick.
Some are sick.
I think this is God. This is God's grace. Where are you now? What's going on with you? Are you still living the same life? What happened? Did anything happen to you? Are you, what is going on with your life?
Oh, God found me. Salvation really found me. So I'm not doing any of those things anymore. I'm working so that I can have food on the table.
Sure. We really bless the name of the Lord. God found you. It's grace to be found by God. And you don't look like you are sleeping without food. The God of restoration, you don't look like you're sleeping without food. You don't look like the bush you went through. You don't look like everything that we have been through. The God of grace, God of restoration who found you has really done wonders in your life. And I really want to thank God for what He has done through you. So now the kids are growing up?
Yes, the kids are growing up.
So are you born again?
I'm born again and I love the
Like
Lord.
born again? Because there are people who say they are born again and they are not. Are you really born again?
I'm really born again.
Do you love the Lord? That
I
is
love the
very
Lord.
important. I think you have a strong message out there to somebody who is, trying this and that to survive. Some even go to an extent of selling their own bodies, because of what they've been through. Sometimes we're quick to judge them. What can you tell them? Can you give them a message? Somebody's out there who's saying, you don't know my story, you don't know what I've been through, don't be quick to judge me. Somebody who's saying, I've tried everything and I've failed. Somebody who's saying, I wish I can die right now. Somebody who says, I wish I was not even born. What message can you give to someone out there? I think that is very important.
People will always judge you. That you must never mind, because whether you do good or bad, people will always judge you. The only thing that you can do, you must be born again, find Lord.
I think that is very important. You need to find God. Once you find God and be hungry for God, everything will be in order. But now you are in South Africa. I just want to take you back. In South Africa, people who are from other countries, they are called names. Here they call them some names I cannot mention. They call them Makwerekwere and many other names. And what was the treatment for you generally, and how is the treatment maybe even now for people who know that you are from the other side or you're from Zim? How are they treating you? Were they welcoming? And what was your experience?
Oh, people never treated me good. They could always judge because I had a child when I was young, and they could always talk, but people will always be people.
So they were calling you names?
They were calling me names.
Some even say, no, these ones, they don't bath, these ones, they don't do these, and did you go through that?
I did.
But okay, I think they are good South Africans. I think they are good South Africans. Did you ever experience any goodness, maybe from someone in South Africa, especially during that time where you're going through that period? Has anyone been good to you?
Yes, I have this other lady. She was very good to me. She told me, she did teach me certain things that I grew up not knowing. She was very good to me.
Can you give examples of those things? I think it's important that we give examples of those things that this good South African taught you.
Okay, for example, I didn't know what is roll-on in my life. I knew it, but I didn't know what should I use it for.
Wait a minute, I think you are taking us to another point. Do you mean there are people who are from South Africa and also other countries who don't know, what roll-on is? Maybe
one of them, I didn't know.
Maybe we even go to an extent of saying they are smelling until we just need to teach them and say, this thing is roll-on, or maybe this thing is a teeth brush. This is how you use it. You mean you didn't know what roll-on is?
I didn't know at all.
So this lady, what did she do?
She called me and said, Amanda, come and sit here. When you bath, what do you use? She did talk to me in a nice, she didn't offend me. She talked to me in a nice way. And then I told her I just bath with water and soap. She asked me after. I said I apply lotion and then that's it. She said, no, you must try to use this. It's going to work for you. Okay, I tried to use it. Sometimes I could forget, and until I could hear the difference that today I did not use this, And
Sure. So before you couldn't differentiate.
no.
It was just business as usual. Yo, but God is good. God bless that wonderful South African, that good Samaritan who taught you. Look at you today. The Lord is wonderful. When you got in here, you were smelling perfumes, you're still smelling good. It's because of that good South African. I think there are still good people out there. But I want us to thank God for what He has done in your life. Viewers at home, I want you to know that God is still at work. His grace is still sufficient. God loves everybody. He loves all Africans. He loves everybody, even those who are not Africans. He loves all of us. Before we get to judge someone, let us try to go near them and understand what they're going through. Maybe that person that you are busy judging needs you. Maybe that person needs you to change his or her own life. Maybe you are the solution. Maybe you are the answer to that person. Maybe you are the person that person has been praying for. This is restoration time, and we want to thank God for the time that you have given us to be on your phones, on your computers, in your home. May the Lord bless you. I want you to say the last words to all the viewers and just thank God before we close.
If it was not for God, I don't know where could I be. Maybe I should have been dead a long time ago. So I want to thank God because He found me before even I could know Him. So
Yeah.
I just want to thank God. And yeah.
Thank you, Jesus. God bless you. God bless you. Keep on watching Restoration Time. You know, we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube. You can follow our links that are appearing on the screen. And God bless you. We'll keep on bringing you the wonders, the works of grace, what the Lord has done.